Charlotte wishes Haruto a good morning, and he starts to feel a bit nervous as his classes are beginning today. She explains his schedule, mentioning that based on his entrance exam scores, he's been placed in the middle class. However, she assures him that classes are shuffled regularly, so he has a chance to move up to Class A soon. Haruto secretly hopes that this won't happen. As he looks at his subjects, he realizes they're quite challenging. Charlotte selected them, thinking they'd be easy for him, and Haruto contemplates how he might use this to his advantage. He considers that if he chooses advanced classes, the teachers will likely have high expectations for him, giving him the perfect opportunity to disappoint them. Before Charlotte leaves, she asks for a hug and wishes him a good day at school. At school, Haruto meets Iris and introduces her as his attendant. Iris introduces herself as well, and they head to their respective classes. Iris is surprised that Haruto is in Class C considering his skills, mentioning that she's in Class A and believes he'll join her there soon. When Liza asks if Iris is really human, Haruto explains that she's not a demon and doesn't seem evil, so there's no need to worry. Haruto enters his class, and he becomes aware of the curious gazes from his classmates. He remembers that he's the talk of the school for defeating Schneidel. The teacher explains that Class C is in the middle of all the offered classes, with students of average grades who have a chance to improve. Today, they'll be taking a test. Haruto sees this as his chance to prove his supposed incompetence. He checks the question paper and realizes that the questions are surprisingly easy. He suspects the teacher might be trying to boost their confidence, making it hard for him to intentionally get everything wrong. As Haruto starts the test, he decides to aim for a score around 60, making it seem like careless mistakes. When the teacher announces the test results, he reveals that the class's performance was quite poor, with an average score of only 20%. Haruto got a 60, which surprises him. The teacher even mentions that he'll put in a good word for Haruto to move him to Class A before the next class begins. In Class A, Iris and Liza insistently drag Haruto to sit with them, arguing and telling each other to stop vying for Haruto's attention. Just as they settle down, their teacher, Oratoria Belcam, enters the class. She scolds Haruto and his friends for chatting and sitting up front, especially since they're first-year students in an advanced class. Oratoria mentions she's aware that Haruto and Iris have joined Tirietta's research lab and warns them that she'll be tough on them. The lesson for the day focuses on sub-elements, main elements, and quantification. Oratoria asks Iris to place her hand on the monocrystal, which reveals that Iris possesses every element. She then invites Iris to join her research lab, but Iris declines. Oratoria explains that one's main element is the element they are most proficient with various sub-elements beneath it. Quantifying these sub-elements is challenging due to circumstances that can alter their values. Oratoria asks the students to imagine fire as their sub-element and then use a muscle enhancement spell, which increases their proficiency with fire spells. She questions Liza about the reason behind this, but Liza offers an incorrect response. Haruto suggests it might be due to hidden properties, revealing his knowledge about them. Oratoria is curious about how Haruto knows this, and he awkwardly explains that he's been calling these properties hidden properties. He only mentioned that in front of Charlotte and Flay. Oratoria reveals that they've received research papers from an anonymous figure known as the White Owl for years. These papers are years ahead of their time, and even the royal family isn't aware of them. Impressed with Haruto's insight, Oratoria invites him to join her research lab, but he declines. She suspects that Haruto might actually be the White Owl. Haruto thinks that the White Owl must be his sister, and Iris and Liza are in awe of his knowledge. Later, Haruto and Iris submit their application forms to Tirietta to join her lab, and Tirietta considers throwing a welcoming party for them. Haruto wonders why he had to be there. It turns out that this is Haruto copy, not the original one. Just then, they hear Polko shouting, and they find Schneider inside one of the rooms. Tirietta admits that she had forgotten about Schneider and explains that he showed up at her door the day before, seeking help to analyze a spell that had afflicted him. After conducting her investigations, this is the state she found him in. Tirietta suggests they use him for joint research on ancient magic and asks Iris to touch Schneider's right shoulder. Iris complies and notices something solid attached to it, resembling colorless cylinders. Tirietta explains that these cylinders attract each other when magic is used to heal the wound, but anything inanimate passes through them. Iris speculates that it might be non-elemental magic, and Tirietta confirms it, describing it as a barrier created using non-elemental magic. Haruto is surprised by Tirietta's deduction. She then asks Haruto to explain the difference between modern and ancient magic. Haruto starts by stating that ancient magic is really old, which earns him some teasing from Tirieta. Iris explains that ancient magic is non-elemental and encompasses lost magic with many mysteries. Tirieta mentions that according to records, it can be maintained without a continuous mana supply, unlike modern magic, which would dissipate within half a day. The barrier has been in place for over 1.5 days. Iris wonders if Tirieta is suggesting that someone in the modern era can use ancient magic, and Tirieta clarifies that it's just a theory. She adds that one needs to be above level 80 to use magic like this and wonders who could have cast the spell. Tirieta decides to question Schneider about it and wakes him up. Schneider is surprised to see Haruto there, and Tirieta gets straight to the point, explaining that she can't remove the hex, only the caster can. She asks Schneider to reveal who cast the spell, and he describes the caster as a man dressed in black. Tirieta connects the description Schneider provided with the hero of justice who has been appearing in the border province for several years. She notes that this hero has recently surfaced in the royal capital, coinciding with Haruto's arrival. Haruto speculates that the hero must have some business in the capital. Tirieta presses Haruto about why he was recommended by the king, but Haruto claims not to know. She suspects he may be hiding knowledge of ancient magic and suggests they spend time together for him to share everything. Just then, Shiva arrives, and Haruto assumes he has been watching the situation. Shiva declares that he has no affiliation with Haruto, emphasizing that he came to the capital to bring justice to evildoers. Tirieta questions whether Shiva was aware that Schneider is part of a suspicious group associated with the evil syndicate. Shiva, however, decides to go along with the situation, agreeing to call off the duel and remove Schneider's shackles by the next day. Shiva announces his departure, but Tirieta uses magic to restrain him, combining dark and earth magic. She reveals her intention to have Shiva answer her 271 questions. Shiva breaks free from the restraints, immobilizing Tirieta instead. Tirieta mentions that this is a complete domain fixation and that the number of questions has now increased to 824. She even offers her chastity in exchange for his answers, but Shiva remains silent. Tirieta suddenly realizes she needs to use the bathroom, and Shiva asks her to stop investigating him. Tirieta reluctantly promises to cease her inquiries in exchange for his release. Once free, Shiva departs, leaving Tirieta to urgently find a restroom. Who is going to discover Haruto's real identity? What is the queen planning to do when she figures it out? Subscribe not to miss the next videos, like if you enjoyed the video, and check the other recaps on our channel for more entertainment. See you in the next one.